I wrote the following in my Facebook group last Friday, November 30th. I said, after much deliberating, I think the result will either be AJ winning on points or Ruiz scoring a late stoppage between 9 and 12. Now, interestingly enough, the only other person I've come across in boxing whose prediction is along the same lines as mine is Vidal Riley. Because in this interview right here, he predicts that AJ will get off to a good start. He'll be ahead on the scorecards, but ultimately he'll start slowing down, perhaps with the assistance of Ruiz's body attack, and Ruiz will get him out of there in the 8th round this time, a round later than he got him out first time. So I agree with most of Vidal Riley's prediction, and he explains in greater detail in the video why he's predicting this. But what I'm unsure about is whether Ruiz will actually be able to get AJ out late. I'm expecting a late surge from Ruiz. I'm expecting him to maybe put AJ through hell in the final 4 rounds. And for AJ to have to endure some torrid times. But I'm not sure whether Ruiz will actually be able to get him out. I'm 50-50, But let me explain more about my prediction. And first of all, tell you what I'm not expecting to happen here. I'm not expecting either man to win by knockout early. I'm not expecting either man to win by knockout within the first 7 rounds. That's what I'm not expecting. Obviously, they've both got the power to put the other guy on the floor because they did it last time. But when I look at AJ's weight at the moment, because he looks a hell of a lot lighter this time than he was for the first fight, I have to assume he's going to move a lot. And therefore, he's not going to be looking to sit down on his shots and unload enough to be able to put shots together and, mount a sustained attack, which would be damaging enough to either force a referee intervention or to drop Andy Ruiz multiple times and to knock him out. He took that risk last time of standing and trying to throw heavy shots and getting Ruiz out of there. Is he going to take the same risk this time? I suspect not, especially early in the fight. I don't think he's going to take that risk, and therefore I can't see AJ winning early. With Andy Ruiz, again, he's got the power to hurt AJ. He's got the power to knock him out. He already did it. But with AJ moving more, that's what I'm expecting. Ruiz not having fast feet, I think he's going to struggle to pin AJ down. He's obviously got to try and invest in the body. I think he will, with jabs to the body. And some people look at jabs to the body and think, they can't do anything. But you'll be surprised with little 10-ounce gloves on. And some guys are more vulnerable to the body than others. AJ has always been a guy who looks vulnerable to the body, as well as being vulnerable to the head. I mean, we saw in the Dillian Whyte fight, the effects body shots had on him. We saw in the Carlos Takam fight, he seemed uncomfortable under body attack. And of course, we saw in the first Ruiz fight, in the 6th round, the body attack seemed to take a hell of a lot out of him. So Ruiz's body attack, even if it's just jabs, is going to be crucial to slow AJ down enough for him to mount an attack late in the fight. Now, I think the fight will be won and lost between the 9th and the 12th. I think if this was a 10-round fight, I'd pick AJ all day, or an 8-rounder. AJ all day. But since it's a 12-round fight, and I'm expecting a late onslaught from Ruiz, that's where I'm unsure. If I had to put my last 10 pounds and I had a gun to my head and I had to put 10 pounds on somebody, I would say Andy Ruiz comes from behind and stops Anthony Joshua in the last 4 rounds of the fight. Because it's better odds. That's just from a betting perspective. If I had to bet, and again, just to put it out there like Richard Dwyer, the opinion you should follow should be your own. So nobody come back to me and have a go at me if you put money on Ruiz winning by stoppage in the final 4 rounds and it doesn't happen. Don't come back at me. That's a little disclaimer, okay? But from a betting perspective, I would say the odds are more favorable, or the odds are just more enticing to pick Andy Ruiz by late stoppage. But if it's just a purely boxing pick with no money involved, no betting, I'll probably go with AJ on points. I think he's going to have the favor of the referee and the judges. He might not need the favor of the referee and judges, but let's be real. Even though he is not the champion, he's the challenger this time, he's still the A-side. He's still the person who's getting paid far more. He's still the cash cow. And as such, unfortunately in boxing, the officials tend to go with the money. Whether it be Canelo Alvarez, the favoritism judges have shown him over the years, whether it be, I mean, even somebody like Deontay Wilder, who's not as big a cash cow as AJ or Canelo, but in that first Luis Ortiz fight, I mean, there was all kinds of weird stuff going on with the doctor intervening and the referee giving Deontay Wilder extra time to recover after he'd been hurt in the previous round. So this is stuff we see often in boxing, unfortunately, and perhaps we'll see it again in this fight. Maybe we'll see controversy with the officials helping AJ out. So yeah, I'm expecting AJ to be up, but in the final 4 rounds, he'll have to go for a torrid time, and it's 50-50 at that point. If you're going to bet, I would say go for Ruiz late stoppage. Don't put much money on it, but that's the bet I would go for. But just from a purely boxing perspective, I'd say AJ will manage to see the final bell and take it on points. So that's my prediction, people. Leave your predictions in the comment section below. I've seen some people, of course, say that AJ doesn't have as good a boxing skills as Andy Ruiz, and Ruiz is going to outbox him. Again, I've watched Andy Ruiz for many, many years, and he's never been defensively blessed. On the inside, when you're trading hooks with him, yeah, he can get underneath your punches and all that kind of stuff. But from the outside, Andy Ruiz has always been pretty vulnerable. We saw that in the first AJ fight, and we've seen it throughout Andy Ruiz's career if you've been paying attention. Go and have a look at his fight against Tor Hamer. It's only a short fight. Don't just listen to me talking about it. Go and watch the fight and have a look at how many clean punches Andy Ruiz was caught with in the Tor Hamer fight. Of course, Tor Hamer quit on his stool at the end of the 3rd or the 4th. But in the first few rounds, he was nailing Andy Ruiz on the way in constantly. And I think he actually got scared because he'd hit Andy Ruiz with all his best punches, and Ruiz barely flinched. I mean, his head was getting rocked back, Ruiz, but he wasn't being hurt by the shots. But he was still being caught. And that's not good from a defensive perspective. So Ruiz has always been a guy who you can tag fairly easily when he's coming in because he doesn't move his head that much. His feet are not particularly fast. He doesn't, tend to stutter his attacks in order to draw a lead first before he attacks you. Occasionally he'll do it, but a lot of the time he doesn't. He'll just walk straight in. And it does leave him vulnerable to getting caught. So, again, if you look at the first fight with AJ, go and have a look at the first and second round, the second in particular, and try and tell me that Ruiz's boxing skills at long range were superior. They weren't. AJ was the one landing all the big power shots. He was countering Ruiz over his jab. He was hitting Ruiz with lead left hooks. I mean, he was landing solid jabs on Ruiz. He was hitting him with walking him onto 1-2s. He was the one landing all the big shots in that second round. And even in the 3rd round, he managed to get that big left hook off. That was no fluke. That was a planned move by AJ. That was a move he'd actually tried. I think in the 1st round, he tried that move, but he couldn't quite get the angle he wanted. In the 3rd round, he tried it again. He came on the inside, got his lead foot in between Andy Ruiz's 2 feet, kind of nudged Ruiz off balance and then let go with a combination which dropped him. So, from what I saw, and even in the 5th round when AJ was still concussed, you could see his legs were not right in the 5th round. There was a moment in that 5th where he went to Ruiz's body with a left first, then a right, then he came up top with another left hook, which sent spray flying everywhere. AJ was landing the quality shots from long range. Ruiz, of course, up close and at mid-range, very, very dangerous, and that's where he won the fight. But at long range, AJ's got the better skills at long range. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. I don't know where people are getting this notion from that Ruiz is the better long-range boxer of the two. Strange to me. But hey, maybe Ruiz is going to improve in the rematch. Maybe he's going to come out early and put a lot more pressure on AJ than he did first time around. I mean, that comes with risk, of course, because as I've said, Ruiz does tend to walk into shots. And being as heavy as he is, it's more difficult for him to move quickly, set himself quickly, and get punches off because he's so heavy. If he was like, a short, lighter guy like a Mike Tyson, yeah, he'd be able to move quickly, set himself, and get shots off. But I think it takes longer for Ruiz to move fast, set himself, and then throw heavy. If you get what I'm saying? And because of that, he might come in off balance if he tries to pressure AJ really quickly early in the fight. And being off balance, he's liable to get hit with counters. Certainly at least jabs. I think we're going to see a lot more of the AJ jab in this fight. And not just using the jab to draw a lead, but actually trying to inflict damage on Ruiz with the jab. I think we're going to see more of that. But yeah, it's still a fight which you could say is 50-50. Ruiz won first time around, so logically speaking, it's perfectly understandable that everybody, or well, not everybody, but a lot of people are picking Ruiz. Perfectly understandable, because he won first time around, so why can't he win second time around? But yeah, I think with the adjustments made and what I saw in the first fight, it's equally possible that AJ could just outbox him and get a decision. I think that's equally possible as Ruiz repeating a stoppage victory. So we'll see. Again, just to clarify, if it was my last £10 and I had to bet, I'll probably put it on Ruiz late stoppage between 9 and 12. But if it's just a purely boxing pick with no money involved, I'll probably say AJ might be able to see the 12th round and take it on points. So yeah, that's my prediction, people. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. We'll find out on Saturday exactly what's going to happen. According to Eddie Hearn, the first bell will be around 9 p.m. UK time. So that's great timing. So yeah, we'll find out then exactly what's going to happen and who's right and who's wrong. May the best man win. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's Hatman, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.